The JLAB Go Air Pop are proving that $20 can bring you tons of value in the true wireless earbud market. Strong bass, EQ presets, long battery, and available in 5 color options to suit your personal taste. In this video, I'll be giving you my complete review along with a quick comparison against the Skullcandy Dime. For transparency and for full disclosure, JLAB Audio sent out the Go Air Pop for my honest opinion and review. The means by which I received these products does not color my review or comparisons in any way. No other compensation was involved, and no one was able to see this video prior to it being published. So in other words, the brands will be seeing this video at the exact same time that you are. I've also included links in the video description for you to check out any and all of the products that are mentioned within this video. So now, let's not waste any more time. So first up, let's talk about that Bluetooth connection. So these are running Bluetooth 5.1 and they're using AAC and SBC as their connection codecs. This makes them fully compatible with both iOS and Android devices with quick and easy pairing. As far as Bluetooth range, I managed to pull 39 feet or just about 11.8 meters. Now, obviously, this is going to vary depending on how many walls or obstructions you put in between the earbuds and the device that they're connected to. On top of that, these are also featuring dual connect or independent usage mode. And this is where you can use each earbud individually while the other one is charging in its case. Now, I know some people like to use one earbud and then halfway through the day, they'll switch out to the other one. If you're that person, then they're going to totally have you covered. Now, when it comes to watching video, Netflix, Hulu, Disney+, YouTube, any of that stuff, there's little to no latency to be experienced with these earbuds, both on Android and on iOS devices. Now that we're on the topic of latency, let's move over to some mobile gaming. Now, when it comes to gaming, these are excellent for casual games. Asphalt 9, Boom Beach, 1945, things like that. Totally going to be fine for that sort of stuff. Unfortunately, these are not so good for competitive first-person shooters like Call of Duty, Fortnite, or PUBG. There is going to be some noticeable lag and latency going on there when you're doing that. I played a couple rounds of Call of Duty, and I could definitely notice that latency. Now, mind you, I was still able to handle business in the game, but it's just something that people who are much more competitive than I am would complain about. So just want to make you aware of that. Sadly, there is no gaming or low latency mode with these earbuds, but that is to be expected considering the low price of just $20. On a good note, gaming modes do have a negative effect on battery life, so I guess not having it could be considered a plus by some people. It all comes down to your personal needs. Speaking of the battery, they were claiming 8+ hours with these earbuds. In my own personal testing, I managed to get 7 hours and 26 minutes at 75% volume, and that was with the signature EQ applied to these earbuds. Now, you're also going to get an additional 24 hours with the case, or basically 3 additional recharges. Now, both the buds and the case take right about 2 hours to charge. Sadly, there doesn't seem to be any sort of a fast charging function on these earbuds. Nothing is mentioned in the writing or any of that sort of stuff, but I also didn't expect it. For $20, we are going to see a couple of things cut out. As far as charging the case itself, they're still using their own integrated USB-A cable. Now, I know some people don't like it and would prefer just a standard USB-C port, but JLAB is sticking to their guns and they are still using their own integrated cable. Overall, the case itself has a very slim design, and like I said before, it is available in 5 different colors. It's very pocketable, very small, and overall, I'm really digging it. The previous version did not have a lid on it. It was just open earbuds, and sometimes if they happen to drop, those earbuds would tend to pop out. So now you actually have a lid that snaps shut, can keep your stuff secure, and also keeps lint and other stuff from getting inside there and kind of dirtying up the charging pins. So overall, a much better design in my personal opinion. And then last but not least, these are also IPX4 sweat and water resistant. So if you want to work out in them, do anything like that, they're going to have you covered, but I would definitely not submerge these in the water. So no swimming and no showering in these earbuds. Now that's going to bring us over to the question of the day. Do you feel that more companies like Sony, Samsung, or even Apple should offer bare-bone products at rock-bottom prices? And I mean no extra features, no app support, just straight-up wireless earbuds that get the job done for a low price. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. So let's move over to the comfort and the controls. So these are very comfortable with no noticeable ear fatigue. These have a very small design similar to the JLAB Go Air. Very, very small. So overall, They are highly compatible with large ears, medium ears, and possibly some small ears if you're one of those people that have smaller ears. Now, they do include 3 different tip sizes so you can find that perfect fit. And they also use a standard stem design, so if you want to use some aftermarket tips, that is going to be an option. I personally recommend going with the SpinFit CP360. They do fit inside the case as well, so if you want to roll that way, those are available as well. And then as far as controls, these are using full touch control. So you can control everything: volume, skip track, play pause, answer end phone calls, and triple tapping will also give you the ability to switch between the 3 EQ modes. So overall, the controls are very responsive, probably one of the better ones from JLAB, and overall gets the job done very easily. So now, before we move into the performance section of this video, if you're into wireless earbuds, headphones, and things like that, make sure you hit that subscribe button for me. Did you know that over 80% of the people watching my videos aren't even subscribed to this channel? Help me change that. I'm trying to build a welcoming and positive community of audio enthusiasts, and I'd love if you would join me on this journey. So now let's move into the performance. So first up, let's talk about that volume. These are getting an 8.5 out of 10 on my own personal scale, so coming in very loud. For me, comfortable listening with these guys comes in right around 65% to about 80% at max. So you still have some overhead there if maybe you have quiet dialogue in an audiobook or something of that nature. So overall, the volume definitely has me covered. So let's move over to the sound quality. Now, if you were expecting like audiophile level sounds or anything like that, this ain't it. $20, we're going to get that dynamic V-shape type of sound. So boosted bass and boosted treble, that's sort of where this hits. So let's break it down. So first up, let's talk about that bass. So these have strong bass response with very good sub bass extension. Not the greatest that I've ever heard, but still brings that rumble that we're looking for, especially on some of those bouncy tracks that some of us like to listen to. Now, it can get a little bit boomy on certain tracks. That's definitely something you want to keep in mind. As far as a test song recommendation, I was using Pray For Me by The Weeknd featuring Kendrick Lamar. Now, they've got multiple bass layers in that track, and it really slams. So that's something you definitely want to try out and maybe add it to your own playlist. Now, when it comes to the mids are very neutral, bordering on recessed. So they're right there, like they're not very forward, but they're just kind of right there. So it's overall a very warm sound. There's decent vocal clarity if you're going to be listening to male or female artists. You can definitely hear them clearly. It's nothing too insane. There's actually some pretty good stereo imaging here, so you get that left and right separation, but soundstage is very minimal. It is a very closed in type of sound. Doesn't surprise me. I'm not expecting anything too crazy out of these. So overall, it's still very satisfying. Now, as far as the test song that I use for the mids, I was using a brand new track from Silk Sonic called Skate. That's Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak. And this song, it's got that same 70s vibe. And if you haven't heard it, you really need to get on that like right now. So let's move over to the treble. Now, for the treble, it's good, but it's not too bright. It definitely rolls off very early, so there's no chance of it ever getting harsh or piercing or anything along those lines. So overall, it definitely gets the job done. There's even a hint of airiness in there with some live recordings if you're using some good source audio. Now, as far as the test song that I used for the treble, it was Bright Lights by Gary Clark Jr. Those drum snares in there, man, I mean, when you hear that live band recording, when you hear his voice, you can really enjoy it and it does not get overwhelming. So it's definitely something to think about. Very good overall though. Now, as I mentioned before, these do feature 3 built-in EQ modes. You've got your JLAB signature. So that is the standard V-shape, boosted bass, neutral mids, and boosted treble. Overall, very satisfying, nice and bouncy, that dynamic sound that we're accustomed to getting from JLAB. Now, second, you've got their balanced EQ. And the balanced EQ on these is the best implementation of their balance mode that I've heard. It is surprisingly clear and it reduces the bass, but it doesn't like hurt the mid-range or the vocal clarity. It kind of sort of amplifies the other two. So if you want less boomy bass, but more clarity out of these, this is really the way to go. That balanced EQ actually caught me by surprise. And then lastly, you've got the bass boost. So you're going to get much more bass response, a much darker overall sound, but it does get muddy very, very quickly. So the bass boost on these is kind of not my cup of tea. If I want bass, I'll just leave them in their signature mode. Now, if I'm going to have to give them any drawbacks or any feedback or cons of these, a little nitpicky here, but we got to do it. There's no gaming mode. Now, it wasn't expected, but it would have been cool if it would have been included. But maybe I'm asking for too much. Also, the integrated charging cable. Now, while that's not a problem for me, this is one of the complaints that I heard most often on all of my reviews of JLAB earbuds. So it would be kind of cool at some point to see them transition over to USB-C or even include both. But at this price range, it's really tough for me to complain about that. So now let's get into the comparison portion. And we've got the Skullcandy Dimes on deck here. Now, overall, the JLABs are going to win in pretty much every category. Where they kind of tie up is going to be when it comes to the volume. Overall volume on both of these is equivalent in my personal opinion. Aside from that, the Dime themselves are not a bad earbud. They have a lot of potential, but they can definitely be improved with some easy fixes. Adding touch controls, because the button control on the Dimes it's just not good. It's kind of tough to press. So that's one of the things where you kind of have to be careful with those. They still use micro USB, which is just like, it's 2021. Why do we have micro USB on these earbuds? So USB-C would definitely be an improvement. And then also adding some EQ presets the way that JLAB has them implemented on theirs. That would be pretty cool. Now, ranking them, volume, it's a tie. So both tied for first place on volume. When it comes to sound quality, the Go Air Pop, it's a definite difference in sound quality here. You can really hear it. And that's just using their signature mode. But if you switch to balanced, that's another noticeable difference. These have more bass. These have better overall sound, better mids even. So for me, if it was my money, I'd spend the $20 on the JLAB Go Air Pop instead of $25 for the Skullcandy Dime. But that's just me. So just some quick thoughts before we move into the mic quality samples. We're living in an amazing time for true wireless earbud technology. What JLAB has given us right here for $20 is nothing short of outstanding. 3 years ago, we couldn't dream of getting this level of quality for such a low price. So let's not forget to be grateful for all the competition in this market. Competition like this breeds innovation and also forces a race to drive prices down while giving us consumers more value. It's a win-win for all of us. And JLAB, they've hit a home run here with these earbuds. So let's make sure to give credit where credit is due. Kudos to JLAB for these earbuds. So now let's move into the mic quality test. This way you can sort of hear what they sound like and determine whether or not they're going to work for you. All right, so here we have the microphone quality test for the JLAB Go Air Pop. So testing, 1, 2, 3. This is what you can expect from these in a semi-quiet indoor environment. So testing, 1, 2, 3. All right, so here we have the microphone quality test for the Skullcandy Dime. So testing, 1, 2, 3. This is what you can expect in a semi-quiet indoor environment from the Skullcandy Dime True Wireless Earbuds. And here we have the JLAB Go Air Pop in a simulated crowd noise environment. So like a busy restaurant, busy cafe, crowded bar, something along those lines. So testing, 1, 2, 3. This is what you can expect from the JLAB Go Air Pop in a simulated crowd noise environment. And here we have the Skullcandy Dime in a simulated crowd noise environment, like a crowded cafe, maybe a busy train station, something along those lines. So this is what you can expect from the Skullcandy Dime in a crowded situation. As always, you're going to have to be the judge of the call quality down in the comments section. So with all that said, if you're interested in some other earbuds coming in for under $30, check out the video I'm going to leave right up here on the screen. If you want to see my top 5 under 50, check out this other video right up here. With all that said, I'm out of here. Peace.